Hello and welcome to another edition of the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show, where this week it's just me. I know we're in the midst of the season. We tried to get as many episodes taped for the season with guests, had a lot of great content on. This particular one, I'm going to do a little bit of a dive into the Arizona State offense from the 2024 season. We'll certainly be diving into 2025, a lot of different things schematically as we get into the end of the season. Also, a programming note, I want everybody to be aware. I hope everybody's seasons are going well. When the season ends, we're going to do a mini season 3 that's going to be on getting the job. We're going to talk to ADs that I think is going to be a lot of insight for coaches that are still in that coaching carousel trying to get that first head coaching job. Going to have actual broadcasts with live ADs talking about interview questions, what you can do to separate yourself in the interview process. We're also going to talk about what you do when you get the job. We're going to talk to some strength coaches, some common mistakes they think coaches make when implementing that strength program. As anybody knows, getting that strength program up and running the way you want is really a huge factor in determining how quickly you're going to be able to get that program going. So if you don't follow us, please follow us on Twitter. Got a lot of great stuff on there on Blue and Gold Gridiron Show. Our episodes now are well into the 40s. We're going to always have at least one episode a week. So if you have not liked and subscribed to the show, please do so. Takes 1 second, click. Like I said, the number one goal of this particular program is not to make any money. We are not making any money on the show. Our goal is to be able to give as much free coaching content. I'm in the midst of season 26. Not sure how much longer it's going to go. I know I'll coach for a very long time. Not sure how much longer I'll be a head coach, but my goal is in this podcast or YouTube channel is to get out as much information as possible to coaches, free content on a lot of different things. That's why I'm really excited to get going with those episodes that we're going to do on getting the job and what you can do to get the job. I know as a younger coach, I went on a lot of interviews before I got my first head coaching job, and I know some of you out there can have some frustration on things to do, what to do in the interview, what to have. Live AD is going to tell you their thoughts at schools, what they think has separated guys, and it's both guys that just finished interview processes last year at the end of the 2024 season that we have. We have a couple other that have had coaches there for a bit, but I think it's going to be good episodes for you. But before we dive into that, a reminder that the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show is brought to you by School Funder. School Funder, the only online fundraising company in America that lets you keep all of the money your team raises. All of our teams at Prescott High School, not all, but a number of teams at Prescott High School have used School Funder, raised over $200,000 that we have kept all of that money. Our football program has personally used them for a number of things and brought in a ton of money. You would never, ever give away 20% of the wins your team earns, so why on earth are you giving away 20% of the fundraising dollars that they bring in? Football is expensive, costs money, athletics are expensive, running a good program and running a program at a high level takes cash, and you want to be able to keep all of it. The only place I've seen able to do that is with School Funder, so please call John Therault is the gentleman in Arizona that we work with, that we did the 4A preview episode with a few months back. But School Funder, that's SCHOOLFUNDR.org. And again, let them know that the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show sent you. And while you're doing that, if you haven't already, please click that like and subscribe button, because like I said, it helps us reach more coaches. Only goal of the show is to get free content out to people. I am not still been doing this for almost a year, and I'm not super tech savvy, so I got a number of clips queued up, but I'm not sure how to do it any other way but going back and forth here on this. So I'm going to share the screen, and we are going to get going talking some Arizona State stuff. I got about 6-7 clips. Really enjoyed watching the Sun Devils last year, and we are going to go to this particular one. We're going to talk about a couple of things on this episode. Number one, some of the things primarily with protections that Marcus Arroyo and Arizona State and their offensive line coaches, their outstanding offensive staff. Kenny Dillingham, of course, offensive coach, offensive-minded head coach, former offensive coordinator at Oregon. Marcus Arroyo, they got an outstanding line coach. Jason Mons, number of different great coaches. We're going to dive into a little bit of their play action, and we're also going to talk about And I really wish the season kind of hadn't snuck up on us, because it definitely did. But we're going to talk about all of the ways in 2024, and I'm sure it's going well in 2025. Full disclosure, we're taping this episode in July because I wanted to get out ahead of everything. I know the season is going to be busy, so I certainly hope our season is going well. But we're also talking about on this episode all of the great ways they use to hide Jordan Tyson, such a talented, amazing wide receiver. This concept here is on 1st and 10, and this basically amounts to 4 verts. They're going to run 4 verts with, I believe this is the running back out here, Cam Scattaboo, now playing for the Giants. It's kind of running a check down route, I would imagine here, whether he's coming from the backfield or coming right here. That check down route is going to be in this area, but they're running 4 verts. The thing that I think is so cool about it is that they're hiding their top receiver, Jordan Tyson, right here in the slot, gets him down the seam against an always tough Utah defense. So I think if you have a stud receiver out there and you are looking at ways to use him, and like I said, this is going to be mostly, there's about 6 or 7 clips, going to be mostly play action. But if you go back, and I padded all of Arizona State's games from 2024, if you don't know what padding is, I think you can really learn a lot from it. You go down and you watch all of that stuff. Film is readily available. Watch an entire season's worth of a coach. I think it really helps you get in their mind and their system. And I'm telling you what, it was a master class last year when Arizona State went to the college football playoff of Marcus Arroyo putting Jordan Tyson in different spots, making it really, really difficult on the defense. So if you are a guy that has a stud receiver, thinking about ways to utilize him, I would certainly encourage you to go back and look at the way that ASU used Jordan Tyson in the 2020.
Planes, if it goes in, no.
Like I said, right here in the seam, you're going to get Tyson coming down here. Like I said, purely 4 verts. You got this vertical, that vertical here, this guy running that check down here in this case. But again, if you just line up Jordan Tyson as an outside receiver, I think it becomes a lot easier to cover him, a lot easier. But the way that ASU used him in so many different facets really was in there into the end zone for a big touchdown for the Sun Devils. Not a concept that a lot of people use. I'm not going to say everybody. I hate when somebody says everybody uses that, because I'm sure there's some wing T teams with 4 verts. I'm sure there's some double wing teams with 4 verts, but not necessarily everybody runs 4 verts at the high school level. But you see a ton of 4 verts, and that is an easy way to do it, where you are getting one of your top receivers in the slot there, in a concept that a lot of people run. A lot of you probably already have that in your offense. So if you do, find ways to get that guy the ball. You line him up in certain places. That's one of the things that people will talk about. If you have a stud running back, it's usually easy to get him the ball. If your guy's at quarterback, he's going to touch the ball. He's going to find ways to make plays. If your guy is at receiver, there's a lot of different ways the defense can take him away. And the more difficult, if you put him in one spot all the time, he's in one spot all the time, that becomes easier for those defensive guys are smart. And it becomes a lot easier for them to scheme to take him away if you don't utilize him in different areas. So, like I said, ASU did a really good job with that. So I would encourage you to go back and look at that. And we're going to go to our next thing that we're going to share here, which is we're starting to get into their play action stuff. One of the things I thought ASU did well is they have a lot of cool ways to protect it. They do. A lot of people, and I've tried to get back to this. Here, my dog's barking in the background. I've tried to get back to this where we are pulling guards, but we've started doing a little bit less of that because it just was easier to teach. But ASU does a really good job of faking zone and having a guy in motion, take that backside edge, or they do a really good job of having a guard pull. So their stuff, I think, in their play action protection game is really creative as well. So I want to give them credit for that. This particular one, you get the short motion from the tight end here. Everybody's walling this off, and they're pulling a guard from the backside. They're going to play action fake here with the guard pull here. You're going to see these backers drawing up, those safeties playing back, and then there's a lot of grass. Seen Tony Ferris talk a lot of Glazier. Where is the grass? Right here, after these guys come up here on this fake and these safeties back here. Anybody, I could get my wife or whoever there's a lot of grass right in here. So one of the things too I think ASU does is really cool is when you have this type of protection scheme on, where you have these down blocks here and you have the guard pulling. A lot of times if there is a backside blitz, I think you lose it off the edge. Where ASU does a nice job here, short motion with the tight end, he ends up taking that backside edge a little bit, so you lose less of it there. I think this is a cool way to protect it. The play fake, obviously last year Cam Scattaboo got the ball a ton, so that play fake really draws those backers up. You're going to see this guy heading right down the pipe, drawing the attention from that safety, and then you're going to get a dig cross type route in here. These backers are up, these safeties taken up by this pipe route, and you see a nice good job by Sam
behind the sticks, play action,
and delivering a ball there. These guys back here, those linebackers up there, a lot of green grass in here, but they're able to take advantage of good completion, good run after catch, all that stuff there. Good stuff from the Sun Devils there. I think, like I said, that is something you can get some stuff out of. The next play action clip we have was against BYU last year. Huge win for the Sun Devils. I think this clip is really cool because, and for you young coaches out there, they're running a play. I know this is just absolutely craziness. They're running a football play from under center. So those of you that haven't seen a whole lot of that, I would encourage you. Play action a lot of times, I'm not going to say all the time it looks better from under center, but there's definitely something to be said for play action under center. The other thing I think that's really important to do is have some eye candy. And they do a good job here in this play that you're going to see under center with jet motion, faking the ball. They got the jet going,
great
distracting all these eyes. They got the motion coming here. They got the play action here. And this is what we used to call a bench route. Again, talked about it a little bit here. Different spot you see Jordan Tyson in. He's an outside receiver here. He's running what, when I worked at Red Mountain for Ron Wisniewski, we called the bench route. He's going to jam this thing into 5, climb to 10 to 12, and then burst out to the corner. You get a cross route over here. So you end up with the same thing. You're going to end up in a lot of scenarios. You're going to end up with a high-low. Looking at this safety here, this play action, you can see he is very aggressive looking here, and they get a big, long touchdown. This is after BYU starting to get back in the game. This is one of those games at ASU, I think last year at times maybe, I don't want to say they took off the gas, but they were certainly trying to use the clock to their advantage. And sometimes they were able to let teams slip back into the ball game here. But you're going to see this
playing some really good football.
Play action.
Play fake, Levitt setting up,
here,
got a receiver.
Cross route here, again, high-low action, and you got a touchdown.
Wide open downfield. It's caught by Dillard. What a bounce back by Arizona State. Touchdown, Devils.
Great design. Like I said, I love that it was under center. I think that makes it really, really cool stuff there. Some really high-quality football there from Marcus Arroyo, and I just can't tell you how much I enjoyed padding Arizona State's game from last year. We still got about 4 or 5 more clips, so bear with us here because I think there's a lot more really, really good stuff on this one. A couple of these are from the Big 12 championship game over Iowa State last year. Big victory for the Sun Devils. There's some cool stuff. This one is one that I think this is part of the reason why everybody loves Kenny Dillingham here. 4th and 1, 4th and an inch here. And now it's funny how the game has evolved. Now this is like an automatic go for it with everybody. But this could have been 4th and 2 or 3, and Arizona State is probably going for it here. But play action, get this guy down the pipe for a big gain. It's early on in the game. I think Arizona State was down at this point 7-3, if I remember correctly. But another thing is the cool thing about the formation here. You get an extra offensive lineman in here in this particular formation. They're play faking here. I believe they're also going to have another little
sort of their own 35
yard. Right, looks a little bit like you're getting counter. Okay, you got Cam Scattaboo coming across. The other thing here is I want you to watch this route. He stutters. He comes in here like he is blocking this safety, making it look like they're running counter here on 4th and an inch. And everybody knows everybody's going to be super aggressive in this particular setting. And this is just, like I said, you got to have some guts to call this one. Stutter, boom, out there in the open field. And like I said, it was 7-3 early on in the ball game. It's caught down there at the 2-yard line. Like I said, one of the reasons I think that a lot of people love Kenny Dillingham is because he just feels like one of us. He's a Sun Devil. He's a guy that maybe necessarily he didn't play in the NFL. He's not got this incredible playing background. He's one of the top coaches in the country at any level, no question about it. But he just feels like the type of guy you go talk to. And you see guys talk to him at 7-on-7 all the time. He is such an approachable guy, but he's also very likable. And I think that's something that it makes Arizona State really attractive to a lot of people. We got a couple more clips left to go in this little short mini episode we're doing here in October that hopefully gets everybody still excited about the show. And I hope I don't put it on the wrong one here, but we're going to get a couple more, I think, clips here. And this one in particular is definitely a good one as well. This is a good one here. It's a 2x2 snap.
In this passing game.
2x2. We're going to get it here. What they do a nice job here, this is just a naked flood. You're going to get a situation where you got Cam Scatterbo early on in that Big 12 championship game. He had already ripped off about a 25-yard counter. This is off a stretch. And again, I think it makes it cool in the protection-wise. Really easy for the linemen. They're all reaching this way. You're sneaking this guy. Everybody loves naked. I've talked about, I think you could make an argument naked is the best pass in football for a lot of reasons. This ends up being just a naked flood. This is something that everybody, and again, I shouldn't say that everybody, but most people, wing T, whatever offense you run, have some type of naked in. Whether it's boot, wing T boot, whether it's this particular play action here, we call it Sally. But a lot of people have this in where you're getting the fake here, the linemen are here, you're sneaking a guy to the flat. They got a deep, this is one thing I think I would say is a little bit different. This out route or the intermediate, we always talk about our flood concept. We talk about our flood concept to our guys. We say always on flood when we're running our nakeds, there's going to be a deep, there's going to be a short, there's going to be an intermediate. There's a lot of different ways to get to deep, short, intermediate, but that picture is going to remain really, really consistent for the quarterback. Again, I love that they motion the tight end here.
It's a group. You've got a lot of other guys that are going to have to step up.
All the offensive linemen are reaching this way. All right. Mateer releasing here into the flat on the flat route. They're taking the top off over here. A deep out route here. Really good play action from Sam Levitt. Gets out of the play action. Gets out here. Has a chance. Nice job that crossing route there from the number, at the beginning of the play was the number 2. After the motion became the number 1. But they get right in here. Flood concept, something most of you have in
the
your
game,
offense.
and it's an easy
Big completion there early on in the game. Obviously, like I said, this is first drive of the ball game, as a matter of fact. But cool stuff there. Not something that's revolutionary, but something I think a lot of you could certainly be able to run. We got a few more clips here that we are gonna go through, and we will call it a day for this particular episode. But a few of these are pretty good stuff here, and let me go through this real quick. Make sure Kansas State, want to show this one. This is another, I think, a really good example of ways that ASU was able to get Jordan Tyson the ball. 3rd and goal here from the 11-yard line. You've already seen him. They utilized him a lot in the slot. This is the fairly ubiquitous slot fade. Not everybody's running this, but you see a lot of people run slot fade here. And this, in this case, they got Jordan Tyson lined up right in here. 3rd and goal from the 11, obvious passing down. But again, if you just line him up in the same spot every time, it's going to be a lot easier for those defenses to find a way to take him away, particularly on downs where you want to get your dude the ball.
He is taking charge of this program. Pressure
really
coming and picked up
Tyson
toward the
there.
corner.
Great
Touchdown!
Levitt.
That's Jordan Tyson. And Arizona State gets the interception and turns it into 6.
Really,
Jordan Tyson working.
Already exceeded expectations. In that 2024 season, most Sun Devil fans were going to be really excited if ASU got to a bowl game. But this was the game they kind of announced.
On a slot corner, advantage Sun Devils.
Season is not exactly an easy place to play, and they're certainly, I think, one of the best coach teams in the country. So that was a absolutely fabulous win for the Sun Devils, and one that I think kind of announced to everybody that ASU was here and doing some things here. Last one I'm going to show is against last year's Territorial Cup against the Wildcats. And this is one I think is really cool because we have talked a lot about these unbalanced formations. This is an unbalanced trips. They got the tight end over here as well. They're going to have a fake here. And again, it just amounts to a flood. It's a different way to run a flood concept. A lot of people have flood concepts in. I love the formation they run it out of. You're going to see a guard pull in the protection as well. All right. A lot of different ways to do things. This short motion, I think, adds to it as well on the presentation here. So many of these formations are runs. You see a lot of these formations where they end up being runs. The tight end's ineligible in this formation. He's what we would call, stole this from ASU tight ends coach Jason Mons, ghosting, because the tight end's not eligible. So he's blocking here. What it also does with this guard pulling, because you're going to pull the guard, you still have a two-man surface on the backside, because you probably have the center blocking back. You really have 3 guys going to the backside. So you're very sound in protection, and you got the flood concept going to the field with the short motion. Double posts are what they ended up running here. They might have been trying to hit the double post. Some of you might not call that a flood. You might say it's double post. Whatever it is, it's 2 posts and an out route here off of play action. A lot of green grass right in here. So cool little concept. Run it back maybe one more time. See this here as they're doing it. The short motion in here, faking in there, pulling the guard, double posts, out there, wide open, 1st and goal, Sun Devils. Really, really good stuff there. So, like I said, I patted a whole lot of ASU last year. I'm looking forward to doing it this year when the season gets done, going through a lot of film, and hopefully you are enjoying some of the content that we are putting out there. Like I said, programming note, be aware, we are really excited to be getting those episodes going with ADs. If you are a guy that has had some success and you're looking to get that first head coaching job, and I remember the itch. You know, no matter what, you're really not going to be ready until you get it, because there's certainly a lot that goes into the head coaching job. But I think it's going to provide you a great resource and an ability to be able to chat with, not necessarily chat with them, but I would certainly pass along any questions after you watch the episode. But live ADs that are going to talk about what you can do to get the job. We're going to talk to strength coaches, some common mistakes that they think they see coaches make in establishing their program. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Like I said, that was a quick one here. We wanted to get something out to everybody here in October. I hope everybody's seasons are going well. I hope our season's going well. Like I said, full disclosure, this is July 27th as we're taping this. This one released October 8th. Knew it was going to be a little bit more difficult as the season got going. We've had guests all the way through about half of the football season here. A lot of these episodes that we're filming now are going to be late in the season, when we were just starting the season here in July. That was going to be difficult to get guys going on the show there. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. It was not meant to be long. Good 24 minutes here. Breakdown of Arizona State's offense, some play action, different ways to get Jordan Tyson the ball in the slot. A couple things we wanted to examine, and we'll do more of that a little bit, and definitely took the idea a lot. Loved all the breakdowns of the board drill. If you don't follow the board drill, they do an amazing job breaking down different concepts. So we thought, why not? Let's get on here, break down a few concepts as well. So hope everybody's season's going well. Like I said, please like and subscribe the show, and we will see you next time for another edition of the Blue and Gold Gridiron Show. Thanks so much, everybody.